Hello everyone and welcome to our educational session. My name is Paul Arsov and I'm the founder of the Decentralized Web project. The topic of our educational event today is modeling human consciousness, the self and the illusion of its continuity. I'm going to start talking right away about this topic, but I like to mention that in the end of this presentation I'm going to talk about the projects we're working on, but let's start right away about this presentation. So imagine waking up one morning and realizing that the steady you staring back in the mirror isn't fixed, unchanging entity at all, but rather an elaborate story your brain has been telling itself all along. This idea, both unsettling and profoundly intriguing, invites us to the question the very nature of consciousness. What if our persistent sense of identity is not a window into an immutable self, but it's an emergent illusion meticulously constructed by our brain? In exploring this possibility, we gradually uncover the multiple layers of a new model of consciousness that draws on the insights of thinkers like Antonio Damasio, Anil Seth, Daniel Dennett, and Keith Frankish. Our journey begins with a simple yet powerful concept, so-called homeostasis. In its most basic level, homeostasis is the body's quest for balance, a constant regulation of internal conditions such as temperature, hydration, and energy levels. Think of it as its thermostat of life, ensuring that our internal environment remains stable despite the ever-changing external world. Antonio Damasio's work emphasizes that this relentless drive for equilibrium is more than just a biological necessity. It forms the groundwork for our sense of self. When the body maintains a stable state, the brain is provided with a continuous stream of internal signals, which in turn builds the initial framework of unified ongoing experience, a continuous I that persists from moment to moment. But stability alone does not account for the richness and fluidity of our conscious experience. Enter the concept of error correction. Our brains are remarkably error correction machines. They continuously compare expected outcomes with actual sensory inputs, fine-tuning the narratives of our experiences. Imagine navigating a winding road with a sophisticated autopilot system. When the car drifts slightly, subtle adjustments are made to keep you on course. Similarly, the brain consistently adjusts its internal narrative to reconcile discrepancies between what it predicts and what it perceives. The idea resonates with Anil Seth's notion of controlled hallucinations, where the brain is seeing as generating predictions and then correcting them, crafting the seamless reality that we experience, even though it is at its core constructed model subject to ongoing refinement. Delving deeper, we uncover another critical layer, the vast realm of subconscious process. Much of our mental activity occurs out of sight, operating silently beneath the surface of conscious awareness. This hidden machinery handles the integration, filtering, and processing of sensory data long before any conscious thought takes shape. Daniel Dennett's ideas about the multiple drafts of consciousness illustrates this beautifully. Rather than a single central narrative, there are actually multiple parallel streams of information constantly edited and recombined. The conscious experience, the coherent story we tell ourselves about who we are, is merely the tip of this intricate iceberg. In its emerging product built upon layers of subconscious computations that we rarely, if ever, notice. As the process begins to fall into place, a striking picture emerges, the imagined self. Our brain does not passively record experiences, it actively constructs a narrative, a self model that appears coherent and continuous. This process involves a delicate interplay of sensory inputs, memories, emotions, and subconscious computations. Even the limitations of our senses, such as the blind spot in our vision or the intermittent clarity in our perceptions, are seamlessly patched together by the brain, creating an uninterrupted, detailed tapestry of experience. Here, the contributions of Keith Frankish come into focus as he posts that we regard as the vivid feel of consciousness is in fact a careful crafted illusion. Our sense of identity is not a near reality waiting to be discovered, but rather a story our brain has woven to help us navigate a complex and uncertain world. Layer by layer, the evidence points towards a provocative conclusion. Consciousness is an emergent illusion. The relentless drive for homeostasis provides the backdrop, a continuous stream of internal signals. Error correction refines this signal, constantly adjusting the narrative to keep it coherent and plausible. Subconscious processes underpin this entire operation, handling vast amounts of information without our awareness, while the brain construction of an imagined self fills in the gaps, ensuring that our experience of being an united individual remains unbroken. In this new model, the self is not a static essence, but a dynamic narrative a compelling story that our brain tells itself to create order out of chaos. It is a pragmatic construct evolved to enhance our survival by integrating diverse bodily and cognitive functions into a single coherent and cohesive experience. This progressive unveiling of consciousness, starting from the foundational need for homeostasis and moving through the sophisticated realms of error correction, subconscious processing, and narrative construction, reveals a profound truth. Our consciousness self are in many ways the product of intricate brain work that transforms disparate signals into a seamless illusion of identity. As we continue to probe the depths of the mind, we are reminded that the story of consciousness is far from complete. Each discovery challenges us to rethink not only what it means to be conscious, but also how we understand the very nature of reality itself. In embracing this new model, we step into a realm where the illusion of self is not a mystery to be feared, by a marvel of nature, a testament to the brain's extraordinary ability to construct meaning and continuity in an ever-changing world. Uh, what are the step-by-step arguments that synthesized the ideas into an explanation for how consciousness emerges as an illusion? The brain is fundamentally tasked with maintaining the body's internal stability, and this is homeostasis. To ensure survival, the brain continuously regulates internal conditions like temperature, energy levels. This regulation requires a stable internal environment, which translates into a continuous and uninterrupted stream of internal states. Such stability lays the groundwork for a persistent experience of self over time, forming the basis for what we perceive as a continuous identity. The brain operates as an error correction system that constantly reconciles discrepancy between expected and incoming sensory information. As sensory inputs and internal states are naturally noisy and fragmented, the brain must continuously adjust its interpretations to maintain a coherent narrative. This error correction smooths out inconsistencies, preventing minor mismatches from disrupting the overall sense of self. The continuous updating and repairing of self narrative contributes to the illusion of stable, unified identity. A large portion of our cognitive process occurs into a subconscious level without our explicit awareness. This subconscious process handle the integration, filtering, and primarily analysis of sensory data. Although we are only directly aware of the end product, the consciousness thought, the underlying mechanisms are mostly hidden. The separation means that what we consider a conscious thought is merely the tip of the iceberg emerging from vast and complex subconscious operations that silently shape our experience. The brain actively constructs a narrative or model of self based on available information. The integrating sensory inputs, memory, emotions, and subconscious data, the brain synthesizes a cohesive self that seems continuous and consistent. However, this self is not an immutable entity. It is actually a dynamic, constantly updated construct that patches together incomplete data. The self is essentially an imagined entity, a narrative assembled by the brain to create a feeling of identity, even though it lacks a singular, unchanging essence. Our sensory systems are inherently limited and provide incomplete representations to the to the external world. Uh, for example, the human eye has blind spots and variable resolution across the visual fields. Despite these limitations, our brain fills the gaps, creating the illusion of seamless, detailed perception. Similar processes occur with our sense of time, our tastes, and other modalities. By compensating for sensory deficiencies, the brain further solidifies the illusion of a coherent, continuous experience, reinforcing the idea of an unified self. Combining the above points, we see that the need for homeostasis creates a foundation of stability. Error correction maintains a coherent narrative despite constant disruptions. Subconscious processes provide a vast amount of unobserved data that feeds into our awareness. The brain construction of an imagined self waves these elements into a continuous story. Illusions of perception mask the gaps in our sensory experience. And in conclusion, consciousness emerges as an illusory byproduct of this interrelated neural process. It's not a fundamental substance or static entity, but rather the brain's adaptive mechanism for generating unified and continuous experience out of fragmented dynamic inputs. And the final summary, consciousness then can be understood as the emergent illusion of a cohesive self, crafted by the brain's need to maintain internal stability, correct errors, integrate subconscious process, and fill in perceptual gaps. This layered process results into continuous narrative we experience as ourself, even though in essence it is a constructive and ever and continuously evolving illusion. And with this said, I'm ending this presentation and I'm coming back to the beginning of this presentation when I told you that my name is Paul Arsov and I'm the founder of the Decentralized Web project. I like to tell you about this and several other projects that we're working on. The Decentralized Web project is building a decentralized communication and advertising platform It is monetized, as I just told you, through advertising, and it is building a platform which has its own blockchain instance. But the meaning of decentralization in our decentralized web project is different than the meaning it is put by blockchain technology. The blockchain technology has multiple and fundamental flaws which prevents it from being a driver and meaning for decentralization. In our project, our implementation of decentralization is through direct communication from user to user without going through a third party, namely a server or a central point which collects information and it then distributes this information to the users. We provide direct communication between user to user by visual, auditory, and text communication between the users from one to another. By having our blockchain instance, then we provide rewards for our users to join the platform and become a new user, and then our users are rewarded for inviting our other users to join our platform, and then our users are rewarded for viewing advertising on our platform as well. The name and the URL of the website of the Decentralized Web project is decentralizedweb.org. Decentralized and web, these are two words and they're typed all together. Decentralizedweb.org. And with this said, I like to move on to the second project that we work on. And the second project is our 3D NFT project. In this 3D NFT project, we have 3D NFT marketplace, and we have a collection of 3D NFTs, and we have also our own software engine which allows displaying and animation of our 3D NFTs based on 3D objects. So what our 3D software engine does is it reads the file of the 3D object, then it opens a window on a computer screen, it loads and displays the object of the 3D NFT, and then it starts animating the 3D NFT in a way of moving in a random fashion around the window it did open. But in addition to this initial and essential and basic capabilities of loading, displaying and animating the 3D NFTs, our 3D software engine has multiple additional capability. The first additional capability is the capability of speaking. Our 3D NFTs can speak in one of three different voices. The 3D NFTs can speak either in a male voice or in a female voice or in a whisper kind of a voice. In addition to the three basic voices, there are three different flavors of voices. A voice can be spoken in a normal speed manner, or in a fast speed manner, or in a slow speed manner. And if we take a male voice and it is spoken in a slow speed manner, Then this voice can come as the voice of a very masculine person or the voice of an old person. And if on the other hand we take a female voice and it is spoken in a fast-paced manner, then this voice can come as the voice of a little girl or the voice of a funny person. And the next additional and important capability of our 3D NFTs is the capability of voice recognition. So if, for example, we have a 3D NFT and it is moving and being animated around a window, then we can issue our very first voice command to the 3D NFT to stop moving. And then the 3D NFT is going to stand still and stop moving. We can issue following voice commands to the 3D NFTs to move left, move right, move up, move down, zoom in, zoom out, rotate. And then the 3D NFT is going to fulfill each one of these separate voice commands and move left, then move right, move up, then move down, come closer, zoom in, go further away, zoom out, and start rotating. The next additional and important capability of our 3D NFTs is the capability of them having a basic artificial intelligence. Wow, really wow. So you can ask the 3D NFT what is your name, and then the 3D NFT is going to tell you their name. You can ask the 3D NFT who are you, and then the 3D NFT is going to reply in few sentences of who they are. You can ask the 3D NFT to describe something. For example, describe Web3 or describe decentralization or describe Russia. And then the 3D NFT is going to describe in few sentences about Web3 or about decentralization or about the country called Russia. The next, actually the last additional and not least important capability of our 3D NFTs is the capability of them being displayed in a way of stereoscopics. What stereoscopics means is that part of the 3D NFT is going to be displayed in red or reddish colors, and another part of the 3D NFT is going to be displayed in blue or bluish colors. Then you can request, you can come to our 3D NFT marketplace website, and probably now is the time to tell you the name and the URL of this 3D NFT marketplace. It is 3dnft.decentralizedweb.org. 3D NFT is typed in a way of the number 3 followed by the letter D followed by 3 other letters NFT, and it is all together 3D NFT. Then you can type dot, then there are two words which are typed all together, decentralized and web. Then there is dot and it ends with org. Once again, 3dnft.decentralizedweb.org. In our 3D NFT marketplace, we have our blockchain instance, and by having our blockchain instance, then we do not charge our users gas fees for deployments of the smart contracts for the non-fungible tokens, and we do not charge our users for transactions of transfer of ownership from one user to another user. By having our own blockchain instance, also we allow payments for the purchase and receiving proceedings from sale, and not in just one crypto coin or token, but in multiple coins and tokens. Currently, the choices of crypto coins include four different choices. It includes Solana Sol, Polygon Matic, Avalanche AVAX, and KuCoin, which is a big centralized crypto exchange. They have a coin called KCS. In addition to buying and receiving proceedings from selling crypto, we have a second parallel and independent way of buying and selling of 3D NFTs, and it is done entirely in fiat currency. I can give an example. Let's say, for example, you're a user. You come to our 3D NFT marketplace. You click on the composite image of our first collection. You see all of the items in our first collection. You click on one 3D NFT that you like. Then you are going to see a short video of this 3D NFT as it is moving. And then you are going to see a drop-down menu which is asking you to choose a way of payment between four different crypto coins and a fifth choice of paying with fiat currency. So let's say you select paying with fiat currency. When you click on the button to advance next, then you are going to see number of fields where you can put the number of your debit or credit card, then expiration date, then CVC, and when you click on the button to make the payment, what is going to happen is there is going to be a transaction and transfer and conversion from your national fiat currency to US dollars, and it is going to be deposited in our bank account in US dollars. Then we're going to follow this with a transfer of the initial ownership from our 3D NFT marketplace to you, and now you become the current user of this 3D NFT. So let's say you play with this 3D NFT for a while, and then you decide to put this 3D NFT for sale. You decide on the price that you want to put for sale, and then you can wait for other users to come to the 3D NFT marketplace, and when another user comes and they click and find your 3D NFT, what is going to happen is they're going to go through the same motions of choosing between crypto and the fifth choice of paying with fiat currency. So let's say they select paying with fiat currency. Then they put their debit, the number of their debit or credit card, CVC, expiration date. They click on the button to make the payment, and what is going to happen is there is going to be a conversion from the national fiat currency of the second user to US dollars, and this deposit is going to be deposited in US dollars in our bank account. Then we're going to transfer the ownership from you to the second user, and now the second user becomes the owner of this 3D NFT. Then we are going to make a transaction and transfer and conversion from US dollars to from our bank account to your national fiat currency, and this transfer is going to be deposited in your bank account in your national fiat currency. And with this said, I'm ending talking about this project. The next project that we're working on, and I like to mention, is dealing with building charging products for electric vehicles. We estimate that the number of electric vehicles in use is going to continuously and at some point maybe exponentially grow up, and there's going to be the question how this exponentially growing number of electric vehicles are going to be charged. So we're building these charging products which include a high current and high voltage electric switch, and together with this electric switch there is going to be Wi-Fi remote connectivity, there's going to be near field communication reader, there's going to be a current measuring sensor, and some additional devices around this. Together, the project is powering electric vehicles, and our vision for doing this is so-called parking lot model. Currently, the charging of electric of internal combustion vehicles is handled in a way of vehicles coming to a gas station, connecting hose to the gas tank of the vehicle, loading fuel, paying for it, and leaving. In the same way, we like to propose the parking lot model, where the owners of electric vehicles living in residential high-rise buildings, these residential high-rise buildings, they have a ground floor parking lot or multiple underground floors of parking lot. And these parking lots of residential buildings, we propose outfitting with kind of products that we are building. And the owner of electric vehicle, when they come back from work in the evening, they can connect electric cable to their electric vehicle. They can identify themselves to the charger. They can start loading electric energy, and this loading process going to continue during the evening, during the night, and early morning, while the electric vehicle is at the building of the home of this electric vehicle owner. But in the same way, the owner of electric vehicle can be working in a high-rise office building, and in the same way, this high-rise office building could be having a ground floor parking lot or multiple underground floors of parking lot. In the same way, the owner of this electric vehicle, when they come for work in the morning, they can identify themselves to the charger, they can connect the electric cable to their electric vehicle, and they can leave their electric vehicle to charge during the morning, afternoon, and early evening, while the owner of this electric vehicle is at work. The name and the URL of this project is power.rstack.com. Power is the ordinary word for power, then there's dot, then there's a word which I can abbreviate it letter by letter. It's Alpha Romeo, Sierra, Tom, Echo, Charlie, Hotel. Altogether, Rstack, then there's dot and it ends with com. Once again, power.rstack.com. In the main page of this project, we put 3 different surveys which you can fill, and you can tell us your requirements or your wishes. And it is possible that we build a new product which fits with your wishes, or we can customize an existing product to fit on your requirements. The 3 different surveys are the first one on the hardware of charging products, the second one is software on charging products, and the third one is a feature included in a charging product. On the main page, we also included an article which is comparing gas station model versus parking lot model, and it describes in a very big details of what I told you about outfitting of charging products, like the type of the product we're building into high-rise office or residential buildings. And with this said, I like to move to the last project that we're working on, and this last project is building artificial intelligence agents. And one project that we built and we released recently is so-called AI to AI project. The name and the URL of this project is ai2ai.decentralizedweb.org. AI to AI is typed with letter A followed by the letter I followed by the number 2 followed by 2 other letters A and I. Altogether, AI to AI dot decentralized web and decentralized web. These are 2 words which are typed all together. Decentralized web. Then there is dot and it ends with org. Once again, AI to AI dot decentralizedweb.org. The aim of this project is to build AI agent which is of the type of entertainment and just for fun, and this project is allowing 2 different AI entities to communicate between each other and to fit into each other's requests and responses. And each of these AI agents is outfitted with their own avatar, their own gender, and their own voice, and they actually vocalize their outputs, and they, in this way, the human is outside of this loop between the 2 AI entities, and you're just an observer, and you are enjoying and you're being entertained of this interaction. So what kind of interaction this could be? For example, one AI agent could be tasked with being very seductive, and the second agent could be tasked with being very angry. So the first agent is going to trying to seduce the second agent, and the second agent is going to respond angrily to the first AI agent. So this is one type of interaction. Another type of interaction could be like, for example, one AI agent being salesman trying to sell a car or washing machine to the second AI entity, which could be a user looking to buy a car or a washing machine. And so forth, so on and so on. We have a social component in our AI to AI project. The users can, when after they enjoy an interaction, they can post it back the parameters of this interaction to the website of our project that I just told you the name and the URL. And other users can use these parameters to start an interaction which could be slightly different but not identical to the interaction of the user who posted these parameters of this interaction. And with this said, I'm ending this presentation. Thank you for listening. Thank you for viewing. Have a nice day, have a nice evening, and goodbye.